Hello, good evening.
My free will and taking home children.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Friday. If you are here, please share. Invite others to join. Let them know we are live. I hope you're doing well. Happy Friday to you all. Thank you so much for joining. Please share when you log on so that others can join as well. Please let me know if you can hear me. Let me know where you're joining in from. A very good evening to you all. Well, it's evening my time. So depending on where you are, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Please share so that others will join in. I will be excited to know where you're joining in from. So please let me know where you're joining in from. Here we are not shy people, so please feel free to let me know where you're joining in from. Feel free to let me know your name. Let me know where you're joining from. And if you have any questions at all, please drop it in. It's a live Q&A session, right? So please feel free, type in your questions. I'll be taking as many questions as I possibly can. And so please feel free to type in your questions and share. Please invite others to join. I would love to know where you're watching me from. I am in Springfield, Virginia. My name is Akosua Kissi, yours truly. I am an immigration attorney here in Springfield, Virginia, licensed to practice in all 50 states as far as immigration is concerned. And so I'm here to spend maybe an hour, roughly an hour with you for a live Q&A session. Please share. There's a lot happening in immigration. I'm going to give you some updates. I'll give you some tips and tricks. I'm going to tell you some of the things we're seeing in immigration, how cases are being processed, the delay. I know there's so many questions. And so please share. Please share. Let me know where you're joining in from. Feel free to let me know your name. I'm always excited to know where you're joining in from. It's very important that I get to know where my audience are. Facebook, are we good? Are we clear? I think last week someone told me that the connection was not good. So please, Facebook, let me know. Is the connection good? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Is it clear enough? Please let me know. Facebook, TikTok is where the party is happening. I see lots of questions on TikTok already. TikTok, dear Charlie. That's where the party is. That's where we spill all the coffee. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining. Please let me know where you're joining in from. And if you have any immigration questions, please type it in. Immigrants brave, you don't have to be shy. The questions does not necessarily mean it's your immigration issue. It can be someone else's immigration issue. So feel free. We are also live on YouTube. So please let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. Okay. TikTok. Nice. I see so many people trickling in on TikTok. That's good. Facebook. Please let me know if you can hear me. Please let me know if you can see me. Let me know how we're doing on Facebook. I'm getting lots of feedback on TikTok, but Facebook. You see, Facebook and Instagram, you're so bougie. I'm not sure why. They don't want to type. They won't ask questions right after the live stream session, and they get into your DMs because they were shy. So please don't be shy. Ask all your immigration questions. It doesn't necessarily mean it's your question. It can be for a friend. It can be for your auntie's auntie. It can be for your neighbor. And so feel free. If you have any questions, just type it in. Thank you for joining. I hope you're doing well. I hope you've had a wonderful week wherever you are across the globe. Thank you so much for joining. Please let me know where you're joining in from. I would love to know where my audience is based. So please let me know where you're joining in from, your name possibly. Okay, I see Tema. I see someone says I'm watching from Tema. Someone says Sunyane, New York. Okay. Utah, California. Okay, nice. Oh, Maryland, you're just around the corner. Okay. Okay, there's Utah, New Jersey, New York. Okay, there's another New York, Accra. Okay, there's a lot happening on TikTok. So many people. Facebook, are we good? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Let me log on Facebook from my phone and then see how we're doing on Facebook. I think last week I was told the connection was not good on Facebook. So I want to be sure that we are clear on Facebook. Let's see how we're doing on Facebook. Is the connection good on Facebook? Please, please, please. I need feedback. I need feedback on Facebook. Okay, TikTok, we're good. Okay, I think we're okay on Facebook. Okay, so let's do join me. Okay. All right. I see lots of questions on TikTok already. Okay, so people are still telling me where they're joining in from. Oh, someone says I'm in Springfield. I'm also in Springfield. Hopefully you mean Springfield, Virginia, not Texas, because I know there's a Springfield in Texas. Okay, Arlington, Virginia, just around the corner. That's good. Baltimore. Okay, I come to Baltimore a lot for court. New York, Accra, Atlanta. Atlanta is my home. That's good. Minnesota. Oh, Minnesota. That's nice. Missouri. I know Missouri very well. In fact, I took my bar exam in Missouri. I know Missouri very, very well. There's Accra. There's Tema. Okay, California, LA, Jersey. There's another Jersey. There's New York. Oh, Colorado. Nice. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for spending your evening with me Friday night. You could have been anywhere. So thank you for making time to meet with me. As you always know, and as I always do, it's a Q&A session, but I'm going to give you some updates. And then if you have any questions, please type it in. I'll take as many questions as I possibly can. By way of introduction, my name is Akosua Owusua Kissi. I am an immigration attorney here in Springfield, Virginia. AB Legal Consult, I'm the principal attorney here. Our office is located in Springfield, Virginia, 5415C Backlick Road. But we are licensed to take clients across all 50 states in the globe. Trust me, I think I have clients in almost every state, apart from maybe Arizona and then one other state. And so please make sure that you retain me so I come and see your state. But we are licensed to practice in all 50 states. Whether you're looking to file for marriage-based green card naturalization, if unfortunately you find yourself in removal or deportation, we can represent you. We are licensed to represent you in court. We are not preparers, we are attorneys. Okay, there's a difference. We are not immigration preparers. We are licensed attorneys, and so we can represent you in court. Preparers cannot go to court. They only do the paperwork, but we are licensed to represent you in court in all 50 states. And so we do deportation, EB1. For those that have risen to the very top of the field, EB1, we represent and file EB1 petitions. The EB2 NIW, absolutely. We are the people you need when you are filing for your EB1s and EB2 NIW. And whilst I am here, let me say that you don't necessarily have to be physically present in the United States to file for the EB1 or the EB2 NIW. Okay. when your petition is approved, you can undergo consular processing. Thank God that priority dates for EB2 and IW is current, meaning that when your petition is approved, you can go ahead and file your adjustments, right? But if you're not here in the United States, you undergo consular processing, nothing changes, okay? Consular processing with the National Visa Center, your petition is going to be processed. Once a visa becomes available to you, then you attend an interview, you get your visa, you come to the United States, and your green card is mailed to you. It's that simple. It's not complicated at all. And so you don't have to be physically present in the United States to file for the EB2 NIW or the EB1. All right. If you're looking to file for asylum, yes, we can represent you. And so that's what we do. We do everything immigration. And so if you're looking for an immigration attorney to help you with your immigration petitions, it doesn't matter where you are, we can represent you. All right. We have systems and structures in place. Anytime I mention this, I just have this smile on my face because not too long ago, I had a consultation with this elderly woman in New York. This woman has an iPhone, right? Someone referred her to us, and her concern was, well, you are in Springfield, Virginia, and I'm in New York. So how are you going to represent me? And she says, so she doesn't know how to work her computer. Her son got her a computer, but she can't use it. And then I said to her, she didn't have to worry, right? Because we have systems and structures in place. And so you don't necessarily have to be here. You don't necessarily have to be here for us to represent you. You don't even have to be in the DMV area. No matter where you are in the United States, across the globe, we can represent you because our systems are friendly. You can access them in your phone, in bed, in the bathroom, in the kitchen. You don't have to be behind your computer to access our platforms. Okay, so we can represent you across all 50 states, and you don't necessarily have to be in the DMV area. I have clients that I haven't set my eyes. So apart from consultation, that you get to meet them, and for some, they won't even show their face. Like some of you, right? You hide your names, especially on Wednesdays during the webinar. People hide their names and they appear with Zoom user, like people are doing on TikTok. They hide their names, they hide their faces, and it's fine. Once you send me your pictures for your marriage-based petitions, I get to see your faces. Once you send your passport, I get to see your faces, and that's fine. So you don't have to be physically present in the DMV area for us to represent you. We can represent you no matter where you are. Our systems are friendly. I have a very friendly staff, and everybody here is a lawyer, by the way. Everybody in my office is a lawyer. And so when you retain us to serve as your attorneys, you're working with lawyers. And so have that at the back of your mind. We are experts, we know what we're doing, we are licensed, and we can represent you. This evening, I'm not here to give legal advice. So every information you're going to hear here is just for informational purposes only. If you need legal advice, if you want me to give you legal advice, what you have to do is to schedule a consultation with me. You head to our website, www.ablegalconsult.com/booking, and then you schedule a consultation with me. I'm going to post our booking link. And so if you want legal advice, you book a consultation, and then I listen to you. I have to understand your immigration history. I have to understand everything, whether you have filed petitions in the past, the decisions that were made, and then I'll be able to give you legal advice. I have to understand how you entered the United States. And when you talk to me, you don't have to lie, okay? It's just like lying. When you lie to your attorney or your lawyer, it's just like lying to your doctor. You get the wrong diagnosis, right? And so when you book a consultation to speak with me, you don't have to lie. except that if you're committing fraud, don't tell me. Okay. If you know you're committing fraud, don't tell me. Because the moment you tell me you're committing fraud, then you're saying that I don't want you to help me. Okay. So however you met your spouse, however you, whatever timeline you put, I mean, wherever you met them, however you met them, however you put yourself on the dating market, that is not my business. My business is, do you have evidence? Do you have marriage certificates? Do you have pictures? Do you have, evidence that both of you hold yourselves out as a couple? Do you have evidence to prove that you cohabit? Do you have evidence to prove that you commingle your funds, you put your funds together? Evidence, evidence, evidence. That's what I want to know. I don't want to know you're paying your, I don't want to know. I'm not interested in that. The moment you tell me that, what you're saying is that I'm committing immigration fraud and I want you to help me commit immigration fraud. And I won't be able to do that. I cannot do that. Okay. And so that's the only thing I don't want to know. But I'm interested in the evidence. I am going to scrutinize the evidence. I'm going to review the evidence. I will wear the cap of the officer that is going to review your petition and make sure that your evidence is solid. Make sure that your evidence is good enough and you're not setting yourself up. Okay. Sometimes the pieces of evidence you submit set you up for immigration fraud and then investigations. And so my work is to make sure that I'm completing your forms properly. My work is to make sure that the evidence we are submitting to the USCIS is good enough, that it's not setting you up, right? Sometimes you enter into the country on a B1, B2, and you know that you don't have to work with your B1, B2 visa. I'm not here to judge anyone. We are immigrants. Sometimes you find your ways. That's entirely up to you. But when you send me your, and I've seen this happen so many times, you send me the bank, the joint bank account, and then I'm looking at the transactions in there, and everything in there screams that the B1, B2 holder that has been here for a couple of months or for a very long time is engaging in unauthorized work. Generally, when you marry a US citizen, when you put yourself on the dating market and you fall in love with a US citizen, you get married to the US citizen, and then you file for your immigration benefits or your immigration petitions. Unauthorized stay, visa overstay, it can be pardoned, not for employment base, but for marriage base. But under this immigration climate, you can tell, right? And so we have to make sure if you're engaging in unauthorized work and you send me your evidence, I have to check that. And so I have to make sure that the evidence we are submitting to the USCIS is not going to set you up, okay? Sometimes the pictures you submit, sometimes you just quickly open a bank account and then you submit it without active transactions in there. It doesn't work that way, all right? When you submit a joint bank account as part of the evidence to the USCIS, you want to make sure, it's one thing having an account, but the most important thing is having active transaction in that account. And what is even best is that those active transactions shows rent being paid, groceries, they help you, utility bills being paid, they help you a lot, especially if there's evidence that you're paying. Classic example, a certain fixed amount is always going to Georgia Power, or to it's a payment towards your gas, any utility bill, and then you have evidence of that. So let's say you have utility bills from Georgia Power that has your name, that has your spouse's name, and then there's evidence of active transaction in that account showing the same payment going to the that organization. That is a very good evidence to submit. Okay, so when you retain me, that's what I'm looking out for. I'm not looking out for selfies. I don't want to see selfies in your pictures. Okay, if you are a couple, you're married, hopefully you're holding yourselves out as a couple. Hopefully your picture shows different activities at different times, right? So some of your pictures should show that you went out on a date, you went to the movies, you went to the grocery store, you went to you attended a funeral, you went to church, you had a trip, right? Those are the pictures an officer wants to see, not the bedroom and home selfies. Okay. Uh, the officers are not stupid, just like you are not, right? And so when your pictures are all selfies, they are in the room, your pictures does not show that you go out, your pictures does not show that you engage in any public activities, that's a problem. And so when you retain me, those are the things I'm looking out for. All right. Um, so when you retain me, you will be fine. All right, so you'll be fine. We'll make sure that everything is good. Of course, we cannot guarantee the outcome. Just like when you're attending your visa interviews, no one, if any attorney guarantees that you're going to get a certain outcome, that attorney is lying to you. What we can guarantee is that we're going to do a wonderful and amazing job. We're going to make sure that we represent you through and through, and we're going to represent your best interest. That we can guarantee. But what an officer is going to do, we cannot guarantee that. Also, be rest assured that so long as great work is done, then the likelihood of getting a great outcome is high. Okay. All right. So I'm going to touch base on a few things as far as immigration is concerned with the trends that we are seeing. And then TikTok, I think there are already about 50 or 60 questions on TikTok. So I'm going to touch base on a few things here, a few updates that I want to share, and then I will take some questions. Nobody on Facebook has questions. Facebook, you're so bougie. That's nice. But I see lots of questions on TikTok. See, this is what they do on Facebook. As soon as live stream is done, then those that have my number will text me, and then others will send DMs. But that's all good. That's all good. All right. But whilst you're on, please share. Invite others to join. Tell them to come and ask me their immigration questions if they have any. Tell them to come and listen to what is happening in the world of immigration. And the questions doesn't have to be their questions. It can be them eavesdropping on someone's conversation and they have a question, or pure gossip, right? You had someone's immigration issue and you want to know how it's going. Please come and ask me. Don't say it's your own issue. Nobody wants to know, but just feel free, come in and ask your questions. Okay. All right. So one of the things we're seeing now trend is that USCIS has strengthened screening and vetting. So there's increased scrutiny across immigration categories. Initially, it looked like it was just marriage based, but it is not. Okay. The scrutiny is across every single application: marriage based, asylum, EB2, EB1. There's a heightened scrutiny. So there's increased scrutiny across all immigration platforms, all immigration categories, I beg your pardon. So it really doesn't matter whatever you are, what petition you are filing. It doesn't matter. USCIS is checking, they are asking questions, they are investigating, they are making sure that your form. So what they're doing now is that the USCIS officers are not just reviewing the petition to see that they were completed properly. That's not what they're doing. They are checking to see consistency. They are checking to ensure that your petition is not saying one thing and your social media is saying something different. They are checking for credibility across all applications. And that credibility begins from your DS 160. I cannot stop saying this. I simply cannot stop saying this. So your immigration record begins from when you decide to file or attend an interview abroad, right? The moment you fill your DS 160, that is where your immigration record begins. And it doesn't disappear, okay? It doesn't disappear. So the moment you complete that DS 160, you're building your immigration history. And so when you file for any immigration benefits, any immigration petition, USCIS is checking from there. Did you make any representation there that is being contradicting, that you're trying to contradict now? Did you omit any information that you are disclosing now? Are you being consistent across all applications? Classic example. When you are entering the United States, you are supposed to, one of the requirements is that you have ties back home. Okay. And so having ties back home includes being married, having children, having a job, or a business. Those are some of the ties that you must establish before you enter the United States. And so I personally know people that are not married, but because they have to establish ties back home, when they're completing their DS 160, they stated in there that they are married so that they can get a visa. Now, when you do that and then you enter the United States, and I have two intents to revoke here with me. One was from maybe 2 days ago, and the other was from last week. And these are prospective clients. Well, one is a prospective client, the other is a client. And the fundamental issue is that the information they provided before they enter the United States and the information they're providing now in their marriage-based petitions, there's a sharp contrast. It's like day and night. Very different. It's like two separate people. And so your immigration record begins from your DS 160. And so if you contradict any information that you have previously provided, that's a problem. You have to be consistent across all immigration applications. Be very consistent. Be intentional in being consistent. And so USCIS is checking for that. They're checking online presence. They're checking your travel history. They're checking prior immigration filings and whether the evidence truly supports the immigration benefits that you're requesting for. And so please be mindful. Now, because of that increased scrutiny, we're also seeing lots of RFEs and NOIDs. I will explain the difference between an RFE and a NOID. So an RFE is a request for additional evidence. And then a NOID is a notice of intent to deny. So with an RFE, USCIS is saying that we have received your petition, we are still reviewing it, but we need additional information to be able to make a decision. For a NOID, USCIS is saying that we have already approved your petition, and this happens when you have, example, I-130 approved, and then you're waiting for your I-485 to be approved. And so USCIS is basically saying that for the NOID, we have already approved the petition, but we are notifying you of our intention to deny, right? So you've submitted a petition, USCIS says that everything looks good, but we are notifying you of our intention to deny. And then there's also the notice of intent to revoke. So there's the RFE, which is the USCIS saying that we're reviewing your petition, we need additional evidence to make a decision. There's the NOID, which is a notice of intent to deny. USCIS says, we are reviewing your petition, but we intend to deny this petition. And so we need some evidence. We need some clarification. Something doesn't add up. We want you to explain a thing or send us additional information. And then there's the notice of intent to revoke. Notice of intent to revoke is worse. With that one, you already have an approved petition, and USCIS comes back and say that, well, we're trying to take that back. The approval we gave you, we're trying to take it back. And so we need an explanation. And I received a notice of intent to revoke from a prospective client. And reading the notice of intent to revoke, it was bad, very bad. And so, and it ties back to the person's immigration history, how the person entered the United States, petitions that had been filed for this person, certain marriage-based petitions that were filed before. And for this particular person, under oath, their husband, their previous husband, stated that he was paid. Okay. So when you put yourself on the dating market and then you pay your spouse to file for immigration benefits for you, and they go ahead and file, and then there's heat, there's some form of investigation under oath. If your spouse says that, well, yeah, I was paid to enter into this marriage and to file this petition for this person, that is a big problem. And for the notice of intent to revoke that I have on my index now, that was it. This lady entered the United States. When she came in, her brother filed for her. The petition was denied. Rather than getting an attorney to help them find out why the petition was denied and possibly reapply, she put herself on the dating market. She found a US citizen, except that she paid that US citizen. And the US citizen decided to file for her. I'm not sure what triggered an investigation, but an investigation was conducted. And under oath, the US citizen told the USCIS officers that, yes, this woman paid me. And it's laughable. Guess how much he was paid? 7,500. Only 7,500. So imagine that you pay someone 7,500, and then years later, for paying someone 7,500 for an immigration benefit, you're being deported. And that's exactly what happened to this lady. So under oath, her US citizen husband said that, well, yeah, my wife paid me 7,500. And the notice was so funny that the officer went further ahead to even put it in there that they were making the payments in installments. So 7,500, 2,500 in installments, basically. So the whole amount is 7,500, but it's being paid in installments. So if you're paying someone only 7,500 and the person under oath confesses that, well, yeah, I'm being paid, and so your immigration pursuit is completely jeopardized. You don't want that. And so in this case, yes, the guy under oath said that he's being paid 7,500, and USCIS says that, well, we all know that's immigration fraud, and so the petition was denied. And the lady was not referred to immigration courts at the time. I'm not sure why. She put herself on the dating market again and then got married to another US citizen. Now, this is the thing. When you file for any immigration benefits, okay, any immigration petition, and you get it wrong. So let's say you file for these petitions yourself and you get it wrong. It doesn't work out. It doesn't go through. Immediately get an attorney. Don't rely on advice from people that have been here longer than you. You must understand that there's no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to immigration. Every case is unique. Every case is different. And I know this because, well, one, because I'm an attorney. Number two, I think last year, classic example, last year, I filed for O1 for two Nigerian actresses. And they are also producers, right? They do the same thing. They do the same thing. They've been in the same movies. They've produced the same films, right? So for about 6 of the awards, the 2 of them received the same award because both of them are producers in the same company. Their petitions were almost the same because they were in the same industry. Their pieces of evidence were almost the same. The only difference is, of course, their names, they're married, different kids. One received an approval immediately, the other received an RFE. Technically, because they're in the same industry, they do the same things, it should have been an approval, and their sponsor was the same, by the way. For the O1 visa, their sponsor was the same. But one received an approval immediately, the other received an RFE before the approval came. Okay. When it comes to immigration, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Two people can be on the same visa category. Both of them can be single. Both of them will put themselves on the dating market, fall in love with US citizens, marry them, file for immigration benefits, and the outcome would be different. And so when it comes to immigration, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. The moment you file for an immigration petition and you receive an adverse outcome, so you file for it yourself and you receive an adverse outcome, make sure that you work with an attorney going forward. There's no point in relying, and it's very easy to do that, especially when you come in and then you meet those that have been here longer than you, and then they tell you their stories, they tell you how they did it. Many years ago, people could enter the United States with people's passport. Now it doesn't happen. Many years ago, people came into the United States and could easily get other people's I-94 to file for immigration papers. These days, it doesn't happen. Those times, even when I entered the United States, my I-94 was a paper. Those times, I-94 was a little white paper that is inserted in your passport. And once you lose that, you're doomed. But now I-94 is no longer a paper, right? It's not a paper. You go online, you see it, and then you print it when you're filing for immigration benefits. And so a lot has changed. A lot has changed. And so this lady, as I was saying, relied on friends and family members that had been here longer than she had been. And then once she was not referred to immigration courts, they advised her to put herself on the dating market again, get married to another US citizen, and then file. And that's exactly what she did. Now, she forgot that she had not. So when she was entering the United States, she was married, right? And she forgot that she wasn't married, but she put it in there again to establish ties back home. She put it in there that she was married. What she forgot to do was to submit a divorce certificate or a divorce decree. And so in this case, there's marriage fraud. There's evidence that she wasn't divorced. And so technically, the second marriage was not even valid. And then she put herself on the dating market again. And USCIS process, they take the money and then they refer her to immigration court. When they contacted me, this was in 2023. I remember that we went to court. The case was administratively closed. And then later, the judge dismissed the case. So, when you are in immigration court, it's only a judge that can allow you remain in the United States or order you removed. At this point, it's not the USCIS. And so based on the results we had from the court, we went back to file for I-130 in immigration with the USCIS, one in immigration court, the other in the USCIS, and then I-485. This is 2023. And so I-130 gets approved. And then we're waiting for I-485, right? Fast forward this year, we attend an interview for her I-485, which is supposed to give her the green card. And the interview was sometime in February. And just 2 weeks ago, she receives a notice of intent to revoke based on the approved I-130. And reading the decision, USCIS said that she had immigration fraud. When she was entering the United States, she stated that she was married, and she didn't even prove that that marriage had ended because there was no divorce decree or divorce certificate. And so, as I was saying, your immigration record starts from when you are trying to enter the United States. When you complete your DS-160, that is when you start building your immigration record. Your immigration history, that's where it starts from. And so with all that, and you don't have to lie to your attorney. When I met this lady and the husband, I asked them a series of questions and they lied, right? They lied to me. They gave me enough evidence to prove that whatever they were saying was true. But what you forget is that all your records are with the USCIS and the NVC, and they have access to them. So if you come to an attorney or you come to me and then give me an evidence that contradicts whatever the NVC and the USCIS has, that's a problem. Now, there are times that you truly don't remember certain information, or you don't even have evidence, we can FOIA your records. That's the good thing. We can request for them. I would rather we request for your records and make sure that whatever we are submitting to the USCIS is legitimate, is true, is consistent, and that helps you build credibility, right? Versus lying to your attorney, providing fake evidence that contradicts everything you already have in the system. And that is what happened with this woman. And so, receiving the notice of intent to revoke, I call her, and then she and her husband say, "Oh, we are trying to put evidence together." I'm wondering, okay, what evidence are you going to put together? Now, granted, you're able to provide me with evidence. What is going to happen to the US citizen spouse that under oath said that you paid them $7,500? How are we going to rebut that evidence? How are we going to rebut that evidence? And so you have to be truthful from the get-go. You have to be credible. Okay, immigration is credibility. Once you lose it, that's it. Okay, and so please have that at the back of your mind. Okay, there's also an enhanced background and social media review. Okay, one issue many immigrants are not taken seriously enough is social media and background screening. So immigration officers today have far greater access to digital information than many people realize. Okay. And so USCIS and immigration agencies may review your social media profiles, your public online activity, employment history, travel records, prior applications, and inconsistencies between what someone says online and what appears in immigration filings is a problem. I know a lady, true story. I know a lady who um, filed, in fact, I filed her marriage-based petition for him. And at the time, in our old office, she came there with this guy and introduced the guy to me as her cousin. But looking at them, their mannerism, how they were holding their hands, how they were giggling, it was very difficult to believe that. But I didn't have any evidence to prove otherwise. And so I believed it. We filed for the we filed for the marriage base. I filed for the marriage base for them. And I think as soon as she got her work authorization, um, the guy that came to the office with her apparently was her boyfriend. They had a huge proposal, pictures all over social media, and I didn't even know. I didn't even know that because I was not checking their social media. I'm not policing anybody's social media. I'm not checking any client's social media, and so there's this huge proposal on social media, and she was invited to attend an interview. So in the interview, the USCIS officer asked, how long have you known your spouse? How long have you been together? Da, 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 lots of questions. And then out of nowhere, the officer asked about this particular person, the cousin. I knew to be the cousin at the time. And she said, "Oh, that was my cousin." The USCIS officer said nothing, right? And so interview is done. We are waiting for a decision. 1 month passes, 2 months passes, 3 months passes. The sixth month, then we receive a decision of denial. And as soon as we received the decision, as soon as I saw the notice, I mean, cases are added to the attorney's account. And so I saw that it had been denied, decision had been made, denied. And I'm eager to read the decision. But it took about, I think, a day or two for the decision, the notice itself to be uploaded. And in the notice, USCIS officer stated clearly that they conducted an investigation and the supposed cousin is the boyfriend because there's a huge proposal on social media. And so I read the notice and I scanned it. I sent it to the clients. I sent it to her email and I said, "Give me a call." And I said, "Just give me a call after reading this." I waited 30 minutes, 1 day passed, 2 day passed, 3 day passed. And then I called her on the fifth day and said, "Oh, did you receive my email?" She said, "I did." And then I said, oh, so what's the way around this? And she started crying. But crying does not solve immigration issues. Credibility does a lot. And so make sure that your social media activities does not contradict whatever it is that you are sending to the USCIS, or you've already sent to the USCIS. So for the one that's saying please respond to your email, I am in a live stream session. I won't be able to respond to my email now. I will after. All right. Thank you for your patience. So make sure that your social media presence, your social media activities does not contradict whatever it says that you've submitted to the USCIS. You have to be mindful. Okay, you have to be mindful, you have to be truthful, you have to be consistent across all social media, all your forms, and then make sure that your social media flex does not contradict your immigration. I know someone who was always applying for benefits, more of a public charge, right? Every kind of benefit, the person was applying for some. Meanwhile, on social media, they are traveling from one country to the other with all the big bags and shoes and all that. It was only a matter of time. And then some of these agencies denied her all the benefits. And I remember getting into a conversation with her, and I said, oh, of course. I mean, your social media activities does not show you are broke at all. It just shows that you are milking the government, and at some point, it catches up. And so please be on the lookout for that. Okay. The third thing that I want to talk about is immigration fraud and misrepresentation, which ties into everything I've already discussed. Fake marriages, fake employment letters. I filed an EB1 for a client in Ghana, and the USCIS issued a NOID, a notice of intent to deny. And this was because USCIS said in their letter, they stated that some of the letters, the letters of recommendation we submitted were not legitimate because they had contacted the recommenders, and some of them said they didn't write that letter. So here's the thing. They took letters from the recommenders, but they changed the letters, right? And I understand that sometimes when you're applying for employment petitions, you don't want your employers to know. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if your employer is going to retaliate or they're going to fire you, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure the rationale behind that. And I'm not sure why. Well, I guess I understand. I'm Ghanaian. We hide everything. When we are traveling, we hide it. We hide everything. So I think I get it. But in this case, this is someone who was in a very, very, very a high level position in an organization that has distinguished reputation. And this person was a boss. And so reported to just about two people on top of him. And so I didn't understand why that was a problem. And I remember during consultation, he mentioned that he didn't want his employers to know that he was filing for an immigration petition like this. And when I asked, he said that he didn't want the employers to know that he intends to leave at some point. And so I remember telling him, you can get letters from your previous organizations. But the thing is, his current organization, where he worked at the time when we filed the petition, was a very distinguished organization. And if you know anything about the EB1, you know that one of the criteria is leading role in a distinguished in an organization with distinguished reputation. And so that organization qualified for that. And so getting letters from previous employers was not going to work. But he found a way. He got letters from his bosses and supervisors, and apparently the letters they signed were different from what we submitted to the USCIS, and that's something I knew nothing about. And so USCIS eventually denied the petition because of that. So when you are submitting letters, there's another case that I know about. The person also worked in an organization with solid reputation in a leading role. Income was high, published materials everywhere, judge of others. He checked all the boxes. And then credibility becomes an issue because in some of the internal documents that we submitted, to the USCIS had a different signature from the signature he provided us in his form. And so there were two signatures. And for the first time I heard this, my client said to me for the first time that in Ghana, and I didn't know this, and I have lawyers here. I mean, some of my staff are licensed attorneys in Ghana that came here to do their LLM and licensed. And so here am I consulting with them and asking them, is there any law in Ghana that says that you can have two signatures, one for internal purposes and then one for external work? And two lawyers here were looking at my face like, there's nothing like that, you know? And so that questioned credibility. It really doesn't matter what evidence you submit. The moment your credibility is questioned, that's immigration fraud right there, right? And so when you're submitting your letters, I mean, be truthful. I'm not sure why, if your employer really, really, really wants the best for you, your employer should be able to allow you travel and explore other things, other countries. Maybe you're coming here to study, maybe you're coming here for a change of environment. If your employer is good and really supports you, they should allow you explore. And so if your employer is not going to allow you explore and they're not going to give you letters of recommendation, don't work for that employer. Well, that's your decision. I'm just kidding. But make sure that if you take letters from your employers, you don't change them. Okay, make sure that whatever we are submitting to the USCIS is exactly what your employer gave you, because USCIS is going back to question them. I have clients currently in Ghana that we did O1 visa for, and O1 beneficiaries are good, O2s are not good. They're being denied visas. And again, people that gave us letters of recommendation are being asked whether they actually wrote these letters of recommendation. So please be mindful. Fake documents and altered records, it's a problem. Failure to disclose prior marriages. I think there's a video, I made a video on our social media, posted on our social media page about a week ago about disclosing prior marriages. Okay. I understand that sometimes you get married at home, and so I mean the traditional, so you may not have a certificate for that, but you still have to disclose that. You have to disclose it, explain, because once you don't disclose that, then you're hiding an information. And USCIS considers all those as part of marriages, and so you have to disclose that information. Don't withhold that information. Disclose prior marriages, because if you don't disclose them, then they can rise to the level of misrepresentation and eventually immigration fraud, and you don't want that. Some of the consequences of immigration fraud: permanent inadmissibility, visa denials, green card denials, notice to appear in immigration court, and you don't want that. You know, if your petition is denied without a notice to appear, then you're good. But the moment you receive a notice to appear, then it's going to trigger deportation, right? And for those that file petitions by themselves, make mistakes, sometimes one simple mistake will cause an officer to investigate and then find out things that you're not ready for. And that can be a problem. Then there's also the difficulty obtaining future immigration benefits. And so keep that at the back of your mind. Always disclose truthful information. Do not rely on unlicensed immigration consultants. Again, preparers cannot give you legal advice. Okay, I'm not trying to ruin anybody's job. I'm just saying that licensed attorneys are able to give you legal advice. Okay, and so do not rely on licensed immigration consultants, and review everything filed on your behalf. If you have worked with me, before I submit your petition, I send it to you. I send it to you to review. Make sure everything looks good. Make sure the evidence you provided to me are exactly what I'm sending out. Make sure that the information you gave me is accurate. I always, all the time, always send the filing packets to my clients. I request that they review. I request that they thumbs up before I submit it to the USCIS. I have no clients that can ever say that they didn't see their petition before I submitted it. I always do. And I put it in an email. I write and let you know this is the filing pack. This is the final filing packet. Review it, come back to me with comments. I'm happy to incorporate them. I'm happy to make any changes. But what I won't do is submit your petition without you reviewing. So make sure that you review everything that is filed on your behalf. And for those that use connection men till date, in this day and age, you don't want a connection man. You don't want to, especially with the World Cup coming, so many of you will rely on connection men. They will take your monies, they'll complete the DS-160s for you, and you don't even know the information they're providing. Please, 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 please. If you decide to work with a connection man, make sure that you review the form. Don't get them to submit anything on your behalf without you signing off. Don't do it. I know I had a case maybe 2 years ago. A connection man did a visa for someone, this young lady, and stated that there was a US citizen man here who was the father, right? And so she gets the visa, she comes to the United States. She becomes a green card holder, ready to file for citizenship. And when she was actually applying for her green card, she disclosed the names of her actual parents, forgetting that she had made a representation somewhere that her father is a US citizen in the United States. In fact, at the time they applied for her, looking at her age, and at the time the supposed US father became a citizen, she qualified automatically to become a US citizen. So she didn't even have to go through the whole process of DS-160, trying to get a visa and all that. She qualified to be a US citizen, straightforward. Again, because a connection man did that for her, it got complicated. By the time she was filing for citizenship, everything comes up. Well, you stated that your father is a US citizen, but that man is married in the United States with children. And then in your green card application, you stated a different father, a different mother. As I speak to you now, she's still in immigration court. She's battling her deportation issue in immigration courts. And so if you decide, let's say you don't take my advice and you decide to still work with a connection man, make sure you review your forms before they submit it. Always speak with a qualified immigration attorney. If you are not sure, ask them for their license. Okay. I have people that ask me for my license, or sometimes I offer to show my bar card. I don't have a problem doing that at all. And so I think 2 weeks ago or so, a preparer, someone consulted me. They had worked with a preparer who claimed to have filed their petition months ago. They don't have any receipts. They didn't see the form. And guess what? They met with this person who held himself out as a lawyer at Starbucks in Atlanta. And so their meeting was in Atlanta, Starbucks, and this guy charged them 6,500. I don't charge 6,500 for marriage-based petitions, but the preparer charged them 6,500, files the petition, well, claim to have filed the petition, and for almost 6 months, they don't even have a receipt. And so they got frustrated. Someone referred them to me. They called me. And then I asked, who is this attorney? They mentioned the name. I didn't even Google. I did nothing. All I said was, let this attorney know that you want to retain a different attorney. And so he should just give you your filing packets so that the attorney can review. And if the new attorney can review, which is me, and if there are any mistakes, we can fix it. They contacted their supposed attorney, and then the attorney says that he didn't have the packet. He's already submitted it. And I said, that's fine. Call the USCIS. Give the USCIS your name, your date of birth, and then they should be able to pull you up. He did, and there was no record of him. Zero. So at this point, I said, okay, go to your supposed lawyer and tell him to let you know where he's barred, which states he's barred, and possibly request to see his bar card or his license. And then the man got upset, sent the guy and his wife a very nasty email. They forwarded it to me, and I said, well, there you have it. So at this point, then I Googled the person, like, okay, he's not even licensed. He's not an attorney. Okay, I'm not saying preparers are not good. There are some preparers that are brilliant. They hold themselves out as preparers. They don't say they are licensed attorneys. And so I mean, for a preparer to charge you 6,500 for marriage-based, I don't charge that much for marriage-based petitions. And so make sure that you always speak with a qualified attorney all the time for legal advice. All right. So now I'm going to take your questions. I'll take a few questions and then I'll be out of your way. Yeah. So for the lady that says I should check my email, I'll check before I leave the office today. Nana Sikatu, thank you. I hope you're doing well. It's been a while. Francis Ochre, thank you. I would like to work with you on my EB2 NIW. That's great. So what I'm going to do is I am going to post we have an eligibility platform. I want you to complete that. Please complete the eligibility platform, upload your CV, submit it. We are going to evaluate your CV, make sure you are a good candidate for the EB2 NIW. And if after evaluating your CV, we make that determination, we would send you an email with the next steps. And so the first thing to do, Francis Ochre, is to complete that. Click that link, follow the prompt, upload your CV, and then hit submit. We're going to review it and I will send you an email with the next steps. I'm going to take a few more questions. Well, there are lots of questions on TikTok, lots of them. This is where the party is always happening. TikTok is always fun. I'll take some questions here and then I will be out of your way. Okay. Do you know when the US Embassy in Ghana will start up immigrant visa appointments? I don't know. I don't know. I wish I could tell you that I did. I don't know. I know the pause is still there, but listen, go ahead and still file for your immigration petitions because you're going to join a queue anyway. So go ahead and still file. And once the ban is lifted, worst case scenario, President Trump won't be President Trump forever. One day he would leave. And then whoever comes to power is going to work on all of this. So please go ahead and file. Mr. Bright Tete, is it a Bright Tete I know from Aoshi ICGC? Hopefully you're the one. It's been a while. I hope you're doing well. How long does it take for the NIW application to be approved? So I'll answer it in two ways. You have the option to do the premium processing, okay? You have the option to do premium processing. Premium processing comes at a cost. Oh, it's you. Very good to see you, sir. I hope you're doing well. Say hello to your wife for me. But you have the option to do premium processing. Premium processing comes at a cost. As of now, is $2,965. Now, with premium processing, the USCIS is going to process your petition within 15 to 45 days. Okay, 15 to 45 days. And then you can get a decision. That's phase one. But as you know, or I'm not sure if you're aware, priority date is current. And so for the EB2 NIW, and I know you're from Ghana, so you belong to the rest of the world category. With the rest of the world category, priority date is current, meaning that you can, as soon as you receive the approval, you can go ahead and file for your adjustments, which is what is going to give you the green card. From my experience, this year, for clients that their priority date became current, they received their green cards. I think it's been 3.5 months, and then the longest has been 4 months so far. And so if you do the premium processing, you're going to cut the time short. Now, if you don't do the premium processing, it can take a very long time. I know someone whose petition has been pending for over a year for non-premium processing for the EB2 NIW. And so I recommend to all my clients to, do the premium processing. And here's the thing. You can start with non-premium processing by filing, the regular petition, so you don't pay for the I-907, which is the premium processing form, and then give yourself some time and then prepare for that financially, because I know paying attorney fees and then the filing fees can be heavy on the pockets. And so you can start with non-premium and then later bump it up to the premium processing. So I hope I've answered your question, but good to see you. Thank you for joining. Please, I'm in Ghana and my husband filed for me in the US. Can I try the B1, B2? Someone asked me this question yesterday. You can try the B1, B2, but your chances of getting the visa is slim. It's very, very low. Okay. When you have an immigrant visa pending, it's always difficult to get a non-immigrant visa approved. And so can you try? Yes. Are you likely to get it? Maybe. but there's no harm in trying. So, Nana Hima, please go ahead and do that. Okay. Someone says, what about revoking a visa? So, depending on, I'm not sure, I wish you could ask the question in a different way, but can your visa be revoked? Absolutely, depending on what you do. Okay, depending on what you do wrong. When you enter the United States and then you violate the status of your visa, it can be revoked. I know someone whose visa got revoked because they entered on the A2 visa. And the purpose for which they got that visa, they didn't fulfill. And so it was revoked. I know people who come in on different categories of visas and they get their visas revoked. I know a couple of clients that entered on a B1, B2. You know, when you enter the United States on a B1, B2, the intent for that visa is a temporary visa, right? The status is temporary. Now, when you come in on a B1, B2, and you intend to remain here, you have to wait for 90 days. So within the first 90 days, you do nothing. And by nothing, I mean nothing. It's you sitting here doing nothing. Don't file for any immigration benefits. Don't do anything within the first 90 days. Now, when you enter on a B1, B2, and then you get married, you know, you put yourself in a dating market, you get married, and then you file for immigration benefits, your B1, B2 can be revoked and your marriage-based petition will be denied. Why? Because you've committed fraud, right? The intent for the B1, B2 is not for you to come in and get married. However, you come in and you fall in love, you put yourself on the dating market, you find a nice US citizen and you fall in love with that person, you wait for 90 days. You do nothing until 90 days and then you can proceed. After 90 days, you would have established the intent to remain here. And so these are some of the scenarios that I have seen get people's visa revoked. Okay. Let's see. Facebook, what's happening here? And this is what happens when I am in the office alone and I don't have help. Add to stage. Okay. Are we back on Facebook? Can someone check for me? Facebook, I think we're back on Facebook. I'm not sure what happened. Facebook, sorry about that. So for the lady asking me whether you can, I'm sure you're asking whether you can file for a waiver. Your question is not clear. That's basically it. Please make sure your question is clear. If you ask a clear question, I'll be able to answer. But if your question is not clear, it's going to be very difficult for me to answer. Facebook, are we back? Okay, great. Thank you. I'm not sure what happened. I'm so sorry. And I'm all by myself in the office, so I don't have help now. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. For the one asking for our contacts, the office number 703, Nana Hima, 703-705-9905. I'll say that again, 703-705-9905. And if you want to shoot an email, please send the email to info, INFO, at ablegalconsult.com. INFO at ablegalconsult.com. Okay. Okay, someone is asking, can you touch on marriage-based? I think I've already done that. Marriage-based is everybody's favorite. I've done that already. What exactly do you want to know about marriage-based green card? So I can touch on it quickly for you before I get out of here. I see lots of questions on TikTok, but it's as though it's running away from me. So if you have asked questions on TikTok and I've missed it, please feel free to type it in and make sure your questions are clear. Okay, how does F1 and employment-based green card work? And how long are you going to get an approval? Is that what you mean, Paul Herbert? I understand the first part of your question, but not the second part because the second part is not clear. So how does F1 and employment-based green card work? That's the first part. That's what I'm going to answer. That is clear. The second part, I don't know what that means. Okay, so F1 is a student visa. It's temporary, right? When you file for a marriage-based an employment-based green card, so it's either the EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, right? For EB1 and EB2 NIW, remember there's a difference between the EB2 and the EB2 NIW, right? So the national interest waiver is what you can file for yourself. You petition yourself. You don't need an employer. For the EB2, you need an employer. And they are two separate things. So in fact, F1, I have F1 students that have filed for employment-based, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So how does it work? It works. You can be on F1 and then file for your I-140. That's perfectly okay. One is not going to cancel the other. So you can go ahead and do that. The second part of your question, I don't understand it. So it's going to be very difficult to answer that. Okay. So someone says, forever blessed, got removal of condition extension letter, now separated. How does one inform the USCIS? Send a letter to the USCIS and let them know. Okay, send a letter to them. Make sure that you state your receipt number or your case number. Attach or add a copy of your receipt number, your case number, receipt number, or the receipt itself. Attach it to the letter, send it to the USCIS, and then also call them, make sure they have received it. You can always update the USCIS with any new information that you have. Okay, so that's actually a very good question. That is you taking the right steps to make sure that you cover yourself. Okay. Could you please repeat the response for what can go wrong with adjustments for F1 students? Okay. So F1 students, number one, you are not authorized to work. Your F1 visa status does not authorize you to work. It doesn't matter whether it is DoorDash, it is Uber, it's Uber Eats. There's another popular one. You are not supposed to work. You have specific hours that you must work with your F1 visa. The moment you exceed that, that's a problem. You'll be engaging in unauthorized work, and that can affect your adjustment whenever you're ready to file for your green card. And so F1, unauthorized work, unauthorized employment, be careful. Don't say that, oh, it's just a contractor job, the hours are regulated. No, that contractor is paying taxes on you. And I say this, you cannot hide anything from the USCIS. USCIS, IRS, they are friends. You cannot hide anything from them. And so unauthorized work, F1 students, F1 visa, never forget this. Unauthorized employment, unauthorized work, that's a problem. You don't want to engage in that. Stay far away from that. Make sure that you work within the stipulated hours that your F1 status requires that you work. Okay. That's a very good question. Thank you for asking. Okay. What do you do when you receive an NTA? Okay, so what is an NTA? An NTA is a notice to appear. It's a charging document, and that begins removal proceedings. Okay, when you receive an NTA, the USCIS is saying that show up in court. They're trying to remove you from the United States. It's a charging document that is going to list the allegation. Every allegation they have, they're going to list it in there. So that is the NTA. That's the notice to appear. Now, what do you do when you receive an NTA? Run and call a lawyer. Call me. As soon as you receive an NTA, run. Don't sleep. It can be frustrating, but you don't fight immigration issues with emotions. As soon as you receive a notice to appear, please call my office 703 705 9905. 703 705 9905. That is what you should do when you receive a notice to appear. Very simple answer. Thank you for a very simple question. Okay, what pieces of evidence do I need to submit when I get married? Okay, so what are some of the pieces of evidence that you need to submit when you get married? Number one, your marriage certificate. That is the main evidence to show that you're married. Number two, if you have been married before, make sure you have evidence to prove that all your previous marriages are done. You're over with them. You have proof of that. That's your number two evidence. Number three, evidence to show that you and your spouse intend to spend the rest of your life together, and that you didn't enter into the marriage just for immigration benefits. Okay, so you're going to rebut the presumption that your marriage is fraud. You're going to rebut the presumption that you married because you want immigration benefits. And so, number one, pictures. Lots of pictures, different pictures from different occasions, different activities, very little selfies. So pictures, photos, very important. Number two, joint bank records. Don't just go and open an account and hand it over to. I received a prospective client's denial, and in the letter, in the denial notice, USCIS says that they opened the account, let's say in January, and then they filed their petition in February. Between January and February, they put money in the account, right? They literally go to an ATM, deposit money, transfer money from one account to the other, Zelle, and those were just the transactions in there. So it's good to have a joint bank account, but make sure that the account has active transactions. And whilst here, let me state that there's no specific timeline within which you should file for your marriage base after you get married. However, because you need enough evidence to prove that your marriage is real, it's important that you wait for some time. You build your evidence. Okay, there's nothing wrong to building evidence. There's nothing wrong when you take some time out to say, okay, from now until maybe the next 3 months, my spouse and I are going to build enough evidence to show that our marriage is real. It doesn't matter. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no law that says that you can't do that. Rather than get married in January and then file for your marriage petitions in February. Now, if you dated your spouse for a very long time, then chances are you have lots of evidence. You have lots of evidence. If my husband filed for immigration benefits for me, that is, if he did, USCIS won't have a problem because we have lots of evidence to show that we didn't enter into marriage for immigration purposes, no, or for any immigration benefit, because we have lots of evidence. Okay, and so when you get married to your spouses and then you don't have, so you didn't date for some time and then you just got married, you want to take your time and then build evidence. So an evidence like joint bank account, if you open an account today, you cannot just submit it as evidence next month, unless of course your spouse, the US citizen, had an account, put you on the account. And my recommendation for that would be, if your US citizen has, let's say, 2 accounts. One account is where everything happens, transactions for payments of mortgage or lease, groceries, utility bills. That is the account you want your spouse to add you. That is the account because it has all those transactions in there, those active transactions that also show payments for dinings, let's say travels or trips, grocery, utility bills. That is the account that you need to submit. Now, if both of you decide to open a new account, then of course you want to take your time and then build that evidence. Life insurance is also another good evidence that you can submit. And then joint phone records, another very good evidence to submit. You need letters from friends and family members who will be able to attest to the fact that you guys are married, you dated for some time, and then based on how you've carried yourself or conducted yourselves, it's likely that both of you intend to spend the rest of your life together. These are some of the pieces of evidence. Now, you also want to prove that you live together, and so you need a joint bank account for. You need a joint lease for that. And so that's also another piece of evidence that you can submit. Okay, so these are some of the pieces of evidence. If you need assistance with your marriage-based petitions, please give my office a call, 703-705-9905. 703-705-9905. So that number is also on WhatsApp. But because I handle that, please call the office line, because we have people here that will be able to answer as faster as possible. Because you may call, I'm on the phone with another client and all that. So, but you can definitely shoot messages on that number. It has a WhatsApp presence. It is not you can't text that number because it's a desk phone, except that it has WhatsApp presence for our clients abroad. Okay. Can a 2-year green card holder travel? Absolutely, you can travel. Make sure that you don't stay more than 6 months. Well, I take that back. Make sure you don't stay for more than 2 months, especially with President Trump's America. Make sure you don't stay more than 2 months, okay? But technically, you cannot live abroad for more than 6 months, except that for the times that we find ourselves, make sure that you don't stay for more than 1 month. Just stay a couple of weeks, at most a month, and then come back, because this is home for you. When you're a green card holder, United States is home. Your home country is abroad. And so you want to establish and demonstrate that you live here. There's continuous presence elements that you need to prove, demonstrate, and establish when you're filing for your US citizenship. And so make sure that, yes, you can travel, but this is home for you. And so if this is home, then you should be here longer than abroad. And so, yes, can you travel as a green card holder? Absolutely. But my recommendation is you don't stay for more than 1 month, just because of the times you find yourself. But technically, it should have been more than 6 months. How long does marriage case take now? It depends on the backlog. But I'll tell you what, marriage-based petitions are being processed faster. And my mentor, who has been practicing for almost 40 years, said to me that they are processing this faster because they're looking to catch people. For clients whose marriage-based petitions have been pending for a while, there are cobwebs. This is based on my experience. There are cobwebs in there. They enter the United States with their spouses, and then they file for divorce because things didn't work out when they came into the United States. And so for people like that, it's taking some time. And then there are also clients of mine that interviews are conducted. I mean, Stokes interviews are conducted, and their answers there's a sharp contrast between how they met, when they met, and stuff like that. And so for people like that, I am seeing that their petitions are taking a very long time. But for those who, and also the third part is for those that have prior marriages. What I'm seeing now is that those that have prior marriages too, their petitions are taking a very long time. But those that have never been married, even though they have visa overstays, I mean, the longest I have seen has been 4 months. I have a couple of clients whose green cards, marriage-based, 4 months, they received their green cards. And so for those whose petitions are still pending, there's always something. And whilst I'm still talking about marriage-based, I want to touch on marriage-based interviews. So for every interview I have attended with clients this year, they've all been Stokes interviews, and Stokes interviews ordinarily was not the first form of interview that was conducted previously. So previously, when you're invited to attend a Stokes interview, it's more of the second interview where USCI suspects that your marriage is fraud or there's something happening, and so they want to investigate further. But now, almost every interview I've attended this year with my clients in the DMV area, outside the DMV area, Chicago, um, out of state, Atlanta, they've all been Stokes interview. And so for those whose petitions are still pending, at least in my office here, during the Stokes interviews, I am there listening in, writing down the questions. And then once the other spouse comes in, they are asked the same set of questions, but I'm comparing the answers. And as soon as we walk out, I know, based on the answers my clients give, I know that this is going to take a while. I have a client who had the primary interview. I didn't attend that interview. This happened in New Jersey. I didn't attend the first interview with them. They were together. But then now the USCIS, and this lady is blessed. I told her she's fortunate because it's the first time since President Trump came to power that I've had any of my clients been invited for a second interview. So the first interview didn't go well, at least based on what she said to me. I wasn't there. But then they've given her another opportunity to come in for a second interview, which is happening very soon, in a couple of weeks, which I will be there. And I've told them it's likely to be a Stokes interview. And so if you're invited to attend a Stokes interview for the first time, don't worry. That's what is happening. It's not because the USCI suspects that your marriage is not real. It's just because that's a time to find ourselves. Make sure that you have fun in the interview. When you're talking about your spouse, you should be happy. You should smile. It shouldn't be very difficult for you. You should be able to tell the officer when you met your spouse, what you love about your spouse, his favorite color or your favorite color, her favorite color, your favorite food, who proposed first, who said, I love you first, was there a huge proposal, so the officers are asking questions about everything about your relationship. Number one, you have to be very honest. You have to be very honest, and you have to be yourself, and you have to have fun. You should be excited talking about your spouse. You're letting the officer into your world, so the officer can understand everything about the two of you. You should be able to freely say that, and it's not the right or wrong answer you give, like it is how you are giving the wrong or right answer. It's not the right or wrong answer you're giving, but it's about how you are giving that wrong or right answer. And if you don't understand any question, tell the officer to rephrase. Tell the officer, I don't understand. You don't have to answer every question. If you don't understand, you tell the officer, I don't understand. Just simply rephrase it, but then have it at the back of your mind. No matter how friendly an officer is to you, they're not there for you. They don't represent your interest at all. They are there representing the interest of the government. And so no matter, I remember sitting in an interview in Chicago last year, and it was a Stokes interview. And it was the guy that was the US citizen, who's the guy that was interviewed first. And the officer is asking questions and smiling throughout. And I'm there like, you're just toying with this client of mine, but that's fine. And I remember the officer even saying, oh, so does your wife love coffee or tea? And the guy says, oh, my wife loves coffee. And here's the officer saying, oh, yeah, I love coffee too, like a whole lot. Meanwhile, the officer was drinking tea. And when the wife comes in, I'm writing the questions so that and then the answers my client is given so that I can compare it to, the wife's answer when she comes in. And the officer asks, oh, do you love coffee or tea? And then my client says, oh, I love tea. And the officer said, absolutely, tea is my favorite. And I'm sitting there like, you just told the other guy that you love coffee. So listen, they'll be having fun with you, laughing with you. They are not representing your interest at all. So don't fall for it. Don't be all friendly. Read the room, read the officer. Um, if he's being nice, that's fine. If he's being cold, that's fine. Be focused. Have fun with your questions and answers. Seek clarification. Be very truthful. If you don't know, you don't know. You don't have to know everything about your spouse. You don't have to. And so if you don't have an answer, you don't have an answer. You're better off saying, I don't know, I can't remember, versus trying to say something that is not true. Okay. But when you attend these interviews, have fun. It's a time to talk about your spouse. Have fun. Let the officer know how you met, when you met, who said I love you first, what time did you sleep, what do you do over the weekend, what does a routine look like during the week. Basic questions that really, if both of you are married, you should be able to answer. Okay. All right. So I'll take two more questions and then it's past 7. I will be out. I'll take two more questions. Oh, can I get married to someone who has criminal convictions? I don't think if you love the person, that shouldn't be a problem, right? If your marriage is real, that shouldn't be a problem. But it's going to be a red flag if you're going to file for any immigration benefits. So it shouldn't be a problem if you love this person and then they have criminal convictions. It doesn't matter because after all, people change, don't they? However, if you're looking to file for immigration benefits, then that is going to be a problem. That's going to be a red flag. And so there you have it. Okay. All right. Um, well, I hope you've had a wonderful time. I always look forward to these sessions, and I've had a wonderful time. I look forward to coming your way again. But listen, I know there's so much happening in the world of immigration. When you go on social media and even you follow certain pages, certain law firm pages, I mean, the way they even post updates can be scary. I understand that. It's scary times. Let's not even lie about that. It's scary times. But I'll tell you this. It's very important who you work with, who you choose as an attorney is very important. It's also very important the people you keep around. All right. Two things that you cannot overlook in these crucial times: the attorney and then the people you keep around. The third one is the pages you follow, because everything happening is scary enough. What you don't want to do is to follow certain pages that is also going to scare you the more. It's okay to stay informed. Um, but I'll tell you this, in as much as you're seeing and hearing immigration fraud here and there, petitions are being approved. Yes, sometimes it get difficult with RFEs and NOIDs and all that, but petitions are getting approved. And so focus on the most important things. Make sure you have a good attorney in your corner. And if you're looking to file for any immigration benefits, please give my office a call at 703-705-9905. The number again is 703-705-9905. Please book a consultation with me. Head to our website, www.ablegalconsult.com. Our booking page is there. Follow us across all social media platforms. And please keep an eye on our social media pages. We have some exciting things coming up. I also want to talk to you about the Immigrant's Guide, a guide that I put together for immigrants. It's on Amazon. Just head to Amazon and then type the Immigrant's Guide by Akosua Owusua. It's the only guide on the market that explains everything immigration, whether you're looking to relocate or you are here trying to figure it out. The emotional roller coaster immigrants go through, the pathways available, the American culture, how to adjust to the culture. Oh my God, and the culture shock in there. I've shared some client stories in there. Of course, I didn't disclose the names of the clients, but I provided every pathway, and then I stated examples and how we navigated through it. I think it's only one client that gave me their permission. Shank Comics, if you followed our social media pages, you know that we are the attorneys for Shank Comics. He's given me his permission to publish his story. So his case is in the book. But the book covers everything immigration. You don't have to you don't have to be here and say, oh, I don't want the book, or it doesn't serve any purpose. It does. There's something in there for every immigrant. Those that are coming, those that are already here trying to figure it out. So please head to Amazon. We've received some nice reviews. We have to start marketing the book well because of the reviews that we are getting, but we will. Head to Amazon. It's less than $5 to get the book for the digital copy, and then for the hard copy, it's less than $15. So please purchase a copy, and then follow our social media pages. So we have a YouTube page, AB Legal Consult. We have LinkedIn presence, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and then X. We are everywhere. AB Legal Consult across all social media platforms. Please follow us. Later this year, we're going to have an immigration clinic. We've started talking about it. You're going to see the ads rolling. So with the immigration clinic, what we'll be doing is that you come into our offices, or you schedule in Zoom. Well, it's going to be free 30 minutes. If you schedule in a Zoom consultation with us, free for that period only, it's going to be free. If you retain us within that period, you're going to get a huge discount for marriage-based and naturalization. I'm sorry, it's not going to be for any employment-based application. It's just going to be marriage-based petitions, and then it's going to be naturalization applications as well. But we are going to answer questions on employment-based, asylum, deportation. You can walk in here, or you can just jump on Zoom with us. We're going to provide you with all those details. And so please keep an eye on our social media pages. That is how we are giving back to the community. And then on Wednesdays, I have webinars. I have webinars on Wednesdays over Zoom. I create a very safe space for people to come in and ask questions. If you want to be part of the webinar on Wednesdays, it's at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you want to be part of it, please shoot me a WhatsApp message and let me know you want to be part of it. Send me a message to the WhatsApp number 703-705-9905. 703-705-9905. Shoot me a message and say, I want to be part of the webinar. And then we also have a WhatsApp group page. We are about 500 plus. Yeah, so we post immigration updates in there. If you also want to be part of the WhatsApp group, please shoot me a message, 703-705-9905, and be a part of this small community that we have built. We are giving back. We are answering questions. Join me. In fact, Wednesdays, the webinar, awesome. People show up, they ask questions. It's very intimate. And so, people show their faces and ask questions. They unmute themselves, ask questions, and it's not recorded. I know Facebook and TikTok, I mean, you can be a bit shy or it can be a bit intimidating, but in the webinar, it's not recorded, and I am always there. I'm the one answering the questions. I'm the one hosting. No question is bad. No one is judging. We are immigrants. We listen. We do not judge anybody. And so come in, ask your questions for free. You don't pay anything to ask questions. Again, this is how I choose to give back. I remember years ago, many, many, many years ago, when I came to the United States, and this is a personal story. When I entered the United States, I remember talking to someone, and it was a lawyer. Very rude, very disrespectful, and very, very expensive on top. And I remember talking to other people and literally saying that I want to be everything that I didn't get in this person that I spoke to as an attorney. And so the work that I do is one, personal. Okay. I take immigration seriously. Um, I have my own story. I have my own story. One day I'll talk about my own immigration journey, my own immigration story. One day I'll share that. When I have the clearance to, I will. But the work that I do is very personal, is very dear to me. It's not about the money. It's the passion is to help people navigate the whole process. I believe that it takes a lot of courage and resilience to. When I came to the United States, I had completed the University of Ghana, Legon. Um, and I think it takes a lot of courage and resilience to move from a country that you're very familiar with, where your family is, a place you call home, and then transition to the land of the unknown. The culture is different. The people are different. Oh, my name is different. I've struggled with people saying my name, and I get frustrated when people cannot say my name. And so anytime someone messes up with my name, I demand that they say it well, because it takes you a lot, right? Mentally, emotionally, psychologically, to move from your home country here. And so if you have had that courage to make it this far, I think all you need is a solid army behind you in the form of a community, an attorney, to help you navigate through. Immigration is not easy. Trying to navigate the system is not bread and butter. It takes a lot of courage. And so in all that you do, make sure that you are safe. Make sure that ICE does not lay its icy fingers on you. Make sure that you get it right the first time. And if you have filed before and it didn't go well, don't gamble. Speak with an expert. Don't rely on don't rely on people's stories. Don't rely on fragmented information. Don't rely on pieces of information that is not true. Speak with an expert. Speak with an attorney. Make sure that you get it right the second time. Okay. Make sure that you get it right the second time. Um, I'll see you next week, Friday. Enjoy your weekend and have a good night. Thank you for joining. Bye bye.